Good Sunday afternoon. I hope your weekend has been a good one. I'm meteorologist Craig Moeller. Glad to be with you here on this update. And this is one of the great things about being able to stream live on 13 News Now Plus and on our mobile apps. We can keep you updated on the weather. And you take a look, and the weather has been something else across the region. You can see here, looking over at the screen, this is Williamsburg, and this is courtesy of colonialwilliamsburg.org. You can see still some snow on the streets there. We do have some clearing, though, as we've seen more rain in the mix, even up around Williamsburg. All right, I want to show you what's happening at a couple of our other live sky views. This time we're going to check in with the Thompson Creek Window Company sky view, and that is the look from the Jordan Bridge, and you can see some raindrops kind of on the camera housing there. We had snow overnight, and the snow added up. We'll show you some of the snow totals here in a moment. That's a look from the Jordan there, again, back towards Portsmouth, and you can see off in the distance here, Norfolk. There's the view up in Hampton. Earlier, the carousel there in Hampton, snow covered. Now, the rain that is mixed in and the sleet, kind of the wintry mix, has really taken the snow and kind of washed a lot of it off the rooftop of the carousel there. That is that live look at the overcast conditions. We'll take one more look. Let's take you to the tower here, and you can see looking across the Elizabeth River, a lot of low cloud cover. Really, most of the snow at the south side and out towards the ocean front has really eroded away. We had snow on the beach early this morning. That's all gone. Small craft advisories continue, and you can see the waves here still pretty good size across much of the area. So that's what's going on right now in terms of the sky views. And again, Thompson Creek Window Company, our sponsors for that, and we are greatly appreciative. 36 right now. That's at the airport where we still have some light rain reported. We'll take a look at the temperatures right now. This is really interesting. Out towards I-95, it is chilly. We have temperatures there in the lower to mid-20s, well below freezing. You look at Suffolk, 33 degrees. We'll check in some rain reported there in Suffolk. We'll check a few more locations. Newport News, 32 and cloudy. As we take a look down towards Ahoskie, it's 27 and cloudy, 34 in Hampton. Got some light rain there. We have seen at times rain with sub-freezing temperatures indicating the potential for freezing rain, but it really never added up to that much across the region. We did have some reports of some freezing rain. As a matter of fact, I can put the storm reports up here, and we'll take a look at some of the conditions that have been reported since early this morning. And as we do, let's see, go ahead and get those up. We'll zoom in and take a look like at Norfolk International, for example. This report here, we had about 0.04 of an inch of precip there of freezing rain, a little bit of accumulation reported earlier. They've since changed that report. You can see a little bit of a thin sheet of ice accumulating on some of the areas around the metal handrails and cars here in Norfolk around Ghent earlier this morning. Now, snowfall's been light, generally less than an inch. We can take a look at what we got out of Kempsville, 1 inch reported there in Virginia Beach, back over around Portsmouth, Western Branch, about an inch. Up on the peninsula, really not much more. There's a little bit more in a few spots. You take a look at Beaconsdale with 1.5 inches of snow. There's a little bit more farther to the north. Want to show you the key to this whole thing as it played out. I've got the winds superimposed here on this map, and I'm going to show you where the area of low pressure is. With that low tracking where it is right now, that's allowed for warmer air to wrap around and come in. So as we take a look here, I'll just quickly put the winds on here. You can see how the winds come in offshore and have been wrapping around. Now we're on the backside of that low, and we're seeing winds shifting around to the northwest. You see that depicted there. All right, let me show you what it was looking like was going to happen earlier, okay, as I take the wind, take these little wind arrows off here. And I want to grab our area of low pressure. Earlier this week, we had models projecting that low was going to be well offshore, passing somewhere out here, keeping the colder air in place across Hampton Roads. Okay, so if this area was a lot colder here across Hampton Roads and that low was offshore, it would have been throwing a lot of moisture into sub-freezing temperatures. We would have had a lot more snow across the area. Of course, that changed up with the models about late Tuesday into Wednesday. We realized it was going to be more mix and potentially more icing. As this area of low pressure here has been farther to the west and is actually, again, positioned right here. That's the actual location. That's what's brought in all of that warmer air. So what we had instead of snow was rain. And if we had a 10-to-1 ratio, snow or frozen precipitation to liquid, you take a look, Norfolk's had 0.72 inches of rain. So 7/10 of an inch, almost 3/4 of an inch of rain since midnight. If that was all falling as snow at a 10-to-1 ratio, we could have had 7.5 inches, 7.25 inches of snow. It would have been really heavy. That's kind of what the models were thinking early on in the week. As it became clearer that we were going to see more mixing, that's when we started to lower the totals. And last night before the snow arrived, Tim was saying, I think with the final updates, we'd see maybe up to 2 inches across the south side, but generally around an inch or so. We did expect a little bit more up in the peninsula where we've seen maybe 1.5 inches, in some places a little bit more than that. It was looking like it might be closer to 3 or even 4 inches up towards Williamsburg. We didn't quite get there. The heavier snow, that axis of heavier snow, was a little farther to the north. So you head into northern Virginia, and up that way we've seen 4.5, 5.5, 6.5 inches of snow, and even more up towards D.C. and into Maryland. We'll take a look at the future cast and what's going to happen now. We're getting drier air starting to mix in. So we're going to get a little break from the rain. Temperatures are above freezing at the coast. It's fairly mild, upper 30s to low 40s right now. As you can see, though, there could still be some mixing wrapping around on the backside. And with temperatures still in the 20s out towards I-95, any additional precip, even light precip, could add some ice to surfaces. Now, I will tell you, our Jeremiah Beatty was out. I believe she was in Smithfield earlier. And some of the areas out there, we had Derek Lytle in Wakefield. We had, as I mentioned, Jeremiah there in Smithfield and up around Williamsburg. We also had Brianna Fallon. She was up there. And we were looking at a little different situation, especially in Smithfield, where some of the tree branches were starting to weigh down a little bit with some of the heavier coating of some snow that was pretty slushy and heavy. And then there's actually a little bit of ice that was forming, and that was leaning down. We actually had some branches starting to come down. So I just want you to know, for some of these inland areas you see shaded in that pinkish area heading into the evening, we could still have some issues with tree branches and certainly some icy spots. Those power lines also caked in some cases with a little bit of ice on it. That can obviously lead to trouble with the power grid. So stay mindful of that. If you've got power right now, it's always a good idea with any type of wintry precipitation to make sure your devices are fully charged. So if you do lose power, you're good for a while anyway with your cell service and maybe your tablets or whatever other ways that you access news and information. So as we go through the evening, we're going to see another chance for showers. That's going to move out overnight. And tomorrow morning, as we get the day started, the only thing I'm really worried about, I think the rain's largely going to be out of here. It's going to be these inland areas here, and you see I'm kind of highlighting them with this arrow, like 29 in Newport News, 30 in Wakefield, 28 in Emporia, 26 at Richmond and West Point. These areas inland, we could see some refreezing on surfaces that are still wet or slushy today as that precip pulls away. And also note the winds are coming in tomorrow from the northwest. So with the winds kind of wrapping down this way, coming in from the northwest, we're going to start to get some cooler air. Tomorrow will be a little cooler than what we see this afternoon. And then the really cold air arrives the middle of the week. So that's what we have to look forward to. Now, let's talk about the chances for just a few light flurries tomorrow. Not a real big deal. Temps in the 30s tomorrow. That'll move out. Skies are going to clear out, and the cold air settles in for early Tuesday morning. You'll see it in the 7-day forecast. Here's a look at the additional snowfall potential. Very light amounts, maybe 1/10 of an inch up around Richmond. Most of the snow is actually north of Richmond. So we're really not looking for much more in terms of snow. As far as any ice potential, maybe 1/10 around Richmond or West Point up towards Tappahannock. A little bit of additional icing, but even that, the models are starting to back off. Emporia, you got to use extra caution. If you don't have to travel 95 or areas out towards I-95, put it off if you can. But if you are out and about, stay alert to potential icy or slick conditions in some spots. Now, over the next 9 hours, we're going to see the temperature staying in the upper 30s. Some areas in the low 40s closer to the coast, and then falling off. Another chance for showers this evening. Today's highs have been in the low 40s, low to mid 40s back towards Virginia Beach. cooler for other areas. Lows tonight near 34 at the airport. It will be chillier inland. And then tomorrow, upper 30s, so we're trending down. I'm going to leave up that weather impact alert for now for tonight and early tomorrow morning, but don't be surprised if Hunter and Evan later this afternoon, as they're working and getting new modeling data in, if it doesn't look like the refreeze is going to be a big issue tomorrow morning, they may take down the weather impact alert for later. For now, we'll just leave it up, keeping an eye to things until we get more information in this afternoon. Temperatures are going to stay chilly, mid-30s on Tuesday, and that's after the morning low temperatures Tuesday are going to be down into the teens. Really cold on Tuesday. Wednesday, the high 32, mostly sunny. We'll see more clouds on Thursday and a slight chance for a few snow showers. I'm not too concerned with really heavy snow or anything like that based on what's going on right now, but there is a chance at least for a few snow showers here Thursday. Friday, variably cloudy and a few more clouds increasing late Saturday into Saturday night. We'll, of course, keep an eye to all of the weather. Keep checking back with 13 News Now and 13 News Now Plus, as we'll have more updates for you throughout the afternoon at the top and the bottoms of the half hours. Have a great afternoon.